Marley was dead to begin with. There is no doubt whatever about that. The register of his burial was signed by the clergyman, the clerk, the undertaker, and the chief mourner.
Scrooge signed it, and Scrooge's name was good upon, changed for anything he chose to put his hand to. Old Marley was as dead as a doornail.
Marley was not mourned by the living, least of all his partner, Ebenezer Scrooge. For Scrooge did not have room in his heart for pity.
For 7 years the sign of Scrooge and Marley still hung outside their counting house, for Scrooge would not waste the money on a new sign.
Oh, but he's a tight-fisted hand at the grindstone, is that Scrooge. A squeezing, wrenching, grasping, scraping, clutching, covetous old sinner, hard and sharp as flint, from which no steel has ever struck out generous fire, secret and self-contained and solitary as an oyster.
The cold within him freezes his old features, nips his pointed nose, shrivels his cheeks, stiffens his gait, makes his eyes red, his thin lips blue, and speaks out shrewdly in his grating voice.
A frosty rime is on his head, and on his eyebrows, and his wiry chin. He carried his own low temperature always about with him. He ices his office in the dog days, and doesn't thaw it 1 degree at Christmas.
Christmas? Ha! Christmas. Yes, Cratchit. What do you want?
If you please, Mr. Scrooge, the fire's quite gone out in my room, and it's cold, bleak, biting weather.
Are you after coal again, Cratchit? I let you have a shovelful yesterday, don't you remember? You and I will find it necessary to part if you continue with this extravagance.
Yes, Mr. Scrooge.
Warm your hands over your candle, Cratchit, and put your comforter on. Then you won't be a drain on the firm.
Certainly, Mr. Scrooge. Thank you, Mr. Scrooge.
A Merry Christmas, Uncle. God save you.
Bah, humbug.
Christmas a humbug, Uncle? You don't mean that, I am sure.
I do. Merry Christmas indeed. What right have you to be merry? What reason have you to be merry? You're poor enough.
Come then, what right have you to be dismal? What right have you to be morose? You're rich enough.
Bah, nonsense. Humbug!
Don't be cross, Uncle.
What else can I be when I live in such a world of fools as this? Merry Christmas. Out upon Merry Christmas. What's Christmas time to you but a time for paying bills without money? A time for finding yourself a year older and not an hour richer? A time for balancing your books and having every item presented dead against you? If I could work my will, every idiot who goes about with Merry Christmas on his lips would be boiled in his own pudding and buried with a stake of holly through his heart.
Uncle.
Nephew, keep Christmas in your own way and let me keep it in mine.
Keep it, but you don't keep it.
Let me leave it alone then, much good it may do you. Much good it has ever done you.
There are many things from which I might have derived good, by which I have not profited, I dare say Christmas among the rest. But I am sure I have always thought of Christmas, when it has come round, as a good time, a kind, forgiving, charitable, pleasant time. The only time I know of, in the long calendar of the year, when men and women seem by one consent to open their shut-up hearts freely, and to think of people below them as if they really were fellow passengers to the grave, and not another race of creatures bound on other journeys. And therefore, Uncle, though it has never put a scrap of gold or silver in my pocket, I believe that it has done me good, and will do me good. And so I say, God bless Christmas.
Well said, sir.
Let me hear another sound from you, and you'll keep your Christmas by losing your situation. And you're quite a powerful speaker, sir. I wonder you don't go into Parliament.
Don't be angry, Uncle. Dine with us tomorrow.
I'll see you in hell first.
But why? Why?
Why did you get married?
Because I fell in love.
Because you fell in love? Bah. Good afternoon.
Nay, Uncle, but you never came to see me before that happened. Why give it as a reason for not coming now?
Good afternoon.
I want nothing from you. I ask nothing of you. Why cannot we be friends?
Good afternoon.
I am sorry, with all my heart, to find you so resolute. We have never had a quarrel, to which I have been a party, but I have made a real effort to be friendly, because it is Christmas, and I'll keep my humour to the last. So, a Merry Christmas, Uncle.
Good afternoon.
And a Happy New Year.
Good afternoon.
And a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to you, Mr. Cratchit.
Thank you, sir, and compliments of the season to you too.
And there's another fellow. My clerk with 15 shillings a week and a wife and a family talking about a Merry Christmas. I'll retire to Bedlam.
After you, my dear.
Oh no, after you.
Scrooge and Marley's, I believe. Have I the pleasure of addressing Mr. Scrooge or Mr. Marley?
Mr. Marley has been dead these 7 years. He died 7 years ago, this very night.
Well, I have no doubt that his liberality is well represented by his surviving partner.
At this festive season of the year, Mrs. Scrooge, it is more than usually desirable that we should make some slight provision for the poor and destitute, who suffer greatly at this present time. Many thousands are in want of common necessities. Hundreds of thousands are in want of common comforts, sir.
Are there no prisons?
Plenty of prisons.
And the union workhouses? Are they still in operation?
Yes, they are. I wish I could say they were not.
The treadmill and the poor law are in full vigour then?
Both very busy, sir.
I was afraid from what you'd said at first that something had occurred to stop them in their usual course. I'm very glad to hear it.
Under the impression that they are scarcely furnished Christian cheer of mind or body to the multitude, a few of us are endeavouring to raise a fund to buy the poor some meat and drink and means of warmth. We choose this time because it is a time of all others when want is keenly felt and abundance rejoices. What shall I put you down for?
Nothing.
You wish to be anonymous?
I wish to be left alone. Since you ask me what I wish, madam, that is my answer. I don't make merry myself at Christmas, and I can't afford to make idle people merry. I help to support the establishments I have mentioned. They cost enough, and those who are badly off must go there.
Many can't go there, and many would rather die.
If they would rather die, then they had better do it, and decrease the surplus population.
Mr. Scrooge!
It's not my business. It's enough for a man to understand his own business and not to interfere with other people's. Mine occupies me constantly. Good afternoon, ladies.
How rude.
God rest ye merry gentlemen, may nothing you dismay.
Be away with you, or you'll feel the back of my hand. You'll want all day off tomorrow, I suppose.
If it's quite convenient, sir.
It's not convenient. And it's not fair. If I was to stop £0.50 for it, you'd think yourself ill-used, I'll be bound. And yet you don't think me ill-used when I pay a day's wages for no work.
But, sir, it's only once a year.
Poor excuse for picking a man's pocket every 25th of December. But I suppose you must have the whole day. Be here all the earlier the next morning.
Oh, I will, sir. I promise I will. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I'll be off now, sir, if you don't mind. It's a long, cold way to run to Camden Town with the snow on the ground.
And the clerk runs home to Camden Town as fast as he can pelt, while Scrooge, growling fearfully, closes the office for Christmas.
Bah, humbug.